8 days ago, somebody in this country committed a radical act. They told the truth on paper, in writing, signed under penalty of perjury. The document is worth $5 billion. It names the exact price of this war, and it was filed in a federal building on July 7th in a week where every microphone in America was lying. This is the only honest sentence produced in a city like Washington, D.C., and nobody covered it. Not one anchor, not one ticker, not one push notification. By the end of this video, I am going to read it to you. I'm going to tell you who signed it, why the law forced them to, and why it is sitting on the tape right now at a discount that you can buy. First, you need to hear the lie that it was hiding under, because you can't appreciate the act of honesty until you've seen the whole inventory of lies. I'm Charlie Garcia. This is Capital Mischief, and nobody pays me to lie to you, which, as you're about to see, makes me a niche business. On Tuesday morning, 8:30 a.m., the government announced it had defeated inflation. Defeated. Listen to that word, defeated. Countries get defeated. Boxers get defeated. Napoleon got defeated. A price index does not get defeated. A price index doesn't even know it's in a fight. But you can't put the truth on a chyron. The truth is that gasoline got cheap for a few weeks because there was a ceasefire and the number ticked down. That's it. That's the whole victory. Inflation didn't surrender. Inflation stepped out for a cigarette. So they went with defeated. And a man in a Patagonia vest said the word disinflation on television and felt handsome doing it. That was 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday. At 4 p.m., the same government sent the United States Navy back to blockade Iran. 7.5 hours. That's the shelf life of a government press release now. 7.5 hours to go from we defeated inflation to we are at war with the country that sets the price of the thing that causes the inflation, oil. That's not a news cycle. That's a lunch break with the delusion of grandeur. You couldn't eat a rotisserie chicken and finish the leftovers before the story contradicted itself. So let me tell you the trick. Here's how the trick works. And it's a good trick. You have to respect it a little bit. The inflation number is a photograph. Photographs are pictures of the past. This photograph was taken in June, and June was a ceasefire. The calm part, the part with the cheap gas. They showed you the photograph on Tuesday and told you it was a weather forecast. But the ceasefire died 8 days ago in Ankara. The president stood up, declared the peace deal over, and sent the bombers back in. 4 consecutive nights of strikes. 2 tankers hit in the strait on Tuesday. Tanker traffic through Hormuz down more than 50% in a week. The cheap gasoline that made Tuesday's number look handsome, already gone. Crude is up double digits since February. They handed you a snapshot of the peace on the exact afternoon they restarted the war, same day. And nobody on the ticker mentioned it. That's not a conspiracy, folks. Nobody in Washington, D.C. is that organized. That's just the ordinary machinery of a country that decided the story matters more than the thing the story is actually about. So now stay with me, because before I show you the honest document, you need to see the biggest lie of all. America keeps its oil in 2 places. The working supply, that's the crude and the gasoline and the diesel in the private tanks, and the emergency stash, the strategic petroleum reserve, buried in salt caverns on the Gulf Coast for exactly the kind of week we're currently having. The reserve is at 316 million barrels. It is 56% empty. the lowest level since April of 1983. Let me paint you 1983. Return of the Jedi hadn't opened yet. Gas was 96 cents a gallon. The compact disc was brand new space age technology. The emergency reserve for the exact war on your television right now hasn't been this thin in the entire working lifetime of almost everyone managing money in America today. And here's the part where you put down the coffee. It didn't empty itself. It was drained on purpose by an administration that took office promising to refill it. 99 million barrels gone since the war started in late February, dumped onto the market to do one job, sedate one number, the headline crude price, the one on the screen, the one that goes into the inflation report the president stands next to. They call it stabilizing global markets. Stabilizing. There's another one of those words. They never lie to you with lies anymore. Lies take effort. They lie, with vocabulary. Here's what actually happened. They unplugged the speedometer and told you the car slowed down because nobody buys crude oil. You buy diesel for the truck, jet fuel for the plane, gasoline for the minivan your teenager treats like a rental. And there's no strategic diesel reserve. There's no salt cavern full of jet fuel. So the products stayed tight. Gasoline stocks are running below their 5-year average, and refining margins stayed fat while the screen price got a sedative. So the dashboard says 45. The engine is doing 90 and smoking, and the buffer is gone. You can't drain a reserve you already empty. The next shock does not get absorbed. It gets priced. Which brings us back to July 7th, the federal building, the honest document. Everyone in this war has been lying to you. The BLS lied with a true number. The Energy Department lied with a hose. Tehran is lying about rogue units while being run by a supreme leader no one has photographed since February. Rogue units, by the way, that issue traffic citations, pirates with a permitting system. That's a whole other video. And then one institution walked into the Securities and Exchange Commission and told the truth. Not because it wanted to, because the law required it to. Exxon Mobil, XOM. On July 7th, Exxon filed an 8K telling the SEC that second quarter earnings will come in roughly $5 billion higher than the first quarter. Not hope, not guided, not whispered to a friendly analyst, disclosed in writing under penalty of perjury. Think about where we are as a civilization. The only way left to get a true sentence out of American institution is to threaten it with prison. Honesty is now a compliance requirement, but hey, I'll take it. Here's what the filing says. 3.5 to 3.9 billion from higher crude prices. Another 3.3 to 4.1 billion from refining and chemical margins. The crack spread minus about $1 billion in war disruption, netted out $5 billion. That is what the war is worth to Exxon per quarter signed under oath. Brent averaged $97 in the quarter, up 23% from Q1. And here's the mechanism Wall Street keeps missing. In the first quarter, Exxon took a hedging loss, paper losses on cargoes it hadn't delivered yet. The stock got dinged. Management said plainly those positions reversed into profit later. That reversal is arriving right now on schedule. The July filing is the proof. So what's the stock doing? Exxon closed at $145.09, 10 full dollars below its war peak from late May. The stock is pricing the sedated number on the screen. The crude price, the government is drugging with the last of the reserve. The real number, the one signed under penalty of perjury, gets its full earnings report July 31st. I'm not selling in front of that. I'll say it again for the people in the back. Watch the crack spread, not the screen. The screen is sedated. The crack can't be. There's no strategic diesel reserve to dump it on. Now we're going to get to the punchline. All right. And here's the part that made me laugh out loud at my own screen. The day the Navy went back to war, the day Iran put missiles into 2 tankers, the war stocks went down. Read that again. The war escalated and the market sold the war stocks, the oil stocks. The market bought the ceasefire in June, sold the war premium out of everything, and filed energy under already had its run. Then the ceasefire died on live television and nobody marked the stocks back up. You're being offered war-exposed assets at ceasefire prices in the same week the ceasefire backed into a war. And I've been doing this a long time. When the crowd does something that stupid, that visibly in broad daylight, you don't argue with it. You send it a thank you note. And before you ask, yes, there's only 2 roads out of here. Stephanie Pomboy, a great analyst, calls it payback. Road 1, the war escalates. The buffer is gone. Nothing absorbs a real closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and oil reprices violently up. Road 2, peace actually arrives. Crude gaps down for a day, and then every government on earth that just learned you can't outsource your energy starts refilling all the reserves. Last time America refilled the tank that was 3/4 full, oil went from $18 to $65. This time the tank is half empty, and it's the whole world buying. Reuters says reserve buying supports demand through 2028. 2 roads, both point up. The only losing scenario is the one the market is currently pricing, a serene, permanent peace with a full tank. Well, that scenario doesn't exist, and the tank is empty, and the peace is already dead. Now, Exxon is one of 4 companies. 4 companies I have owned through this entire war, and what they have in common is the whole strategy. None of them require anybody to tell the truth. The second one has raised its dividend for 26 consecutive years through every oil crash you can name, and not one of its barrels ever touches the Strait of Hormuz. The war literally cannot reach it. The third one is collecting a windfall as we speak. A windfall a competitor set on fire in the Persian Gulf and will spend the next 3 to 5 years digging out from under. And the fourth one gets quietly cheaper every single day. The strait stays dangerous, which at current odds, it's going to be a while. Their names, their exact prices, and the standing order I want in your hand for the morning the next fake ceasefire prints, because that morning is coming and the crowd is going to sell the bottom to you personally. All of it is on Capital Mischief. Link in the description or look at the QR code on your screen. Free readers get the truth. Paid readers get the truth and the trade. $2 a day, less than the gas station charges you to feel bad about the world. Quick lawyer minute. This is my own book and my own opinions. I own these names. It's not investment advice. I'm not your advisor. Do your own work. Talk to somebody who's paid to keep you from doing stupid things. If this made the war make more sense than the news did, hit like so the algorithm knows a human watched, subscribe, and send it to the one person in your life who still thinks the ceasefire is actually real. They'll thank you. May the mischief be with you. I'm Charlie Garcia.